In this episode of Sailing Bare Feet, we spend an intense 3 days on somewhat less than exciting boat chores before we leave Greek waters.
So we're changing the batteries today. It's a very simple process. If you look down onto the batteries, there's only a handful of terminals that we need to disconnect and then connect to the new batteries, but I want it to be covered by warranty, so they're doing the installation, and then after it's installed we'll need to change the settings on the charger and also the settings on our power controller for the solar panels, because they're a different type of battery and require a different type of charging. So that was a surprisingly quick installation, $144 for around half an hour's work of two guys. I guess that's fair price here in Greece. The batteries are very much the same as before, in the sense that the terminals are all exactly in the same place. The main difference is that there are no red caps to fill up demineralized water, which was the case in the lead acid batteries. We've got 3 times 140 amp hour batteries, so we should be good to go now to run all of our appliances and not have to worry about electricity as we cross the big blue sea. I don't know if we have an early shot of it, but we had a little piece of plastic here which was keeping this hole up because I had to take the speaker out. It was advertising a butcher, and we got 3 questions like, what's this butcher's sign about? Anyway, it was just a piece of plastic to keep this nice and dry. So new speakers come in, taking the stuff away, and it's time to see if it works before I screw it in. Yeah, it works.
Do you want to tell us about what we're listening to, Chris?
Flight of the Conchords, one of our favourite albums. I listen to it every morning. Ha ha ha, baguette. Ha ha ha. Cool.
So we only had one speaker on the boat which was not working, but I've convinced Chris to change both of them instead, so they actually look the same, given that we bought 2 new speakers. So he's having a ball. It's really hot here in the marina. Chris is sweating like a pig.
Not sure if Lagoon had decided to silicone it, but the instructions say not to use silicone, so just trying to clean it up, but it's fucking hot. And I've got to service both the engines in this heat. I'm gonna die. Hello everyone, I thought I would film some of the parts of the engine which I've serviced, and you know, when you're busy doing stuff like this you forget to film stuff. So whilst we wait for the engine to drain its oil into this little bucket here, it's taking forever, I'll show you some parts of the engine which I've played with on the other side. So very quickly, on the fuel side of the boat we have 2 filters, the primary filter here, this one, and the secondary filter here. So the fuel comes in from this side, passes through. The main purpose of this is to separate in water and heavy particulates that are in the fuel, and then it comes through to the secondary fuel filter before going into the engine. One of the fun things that we had to learn how to do is how to bleed the air, because once you change this filter, the primary and the secondary filter, obviously you introduce a lot of air into the system. There's this tiny little lever here, which I guess you're meant to use to try and bleed air out of the system, but the better way that we found is to use that lever a little bit, but to just to turn the engine over, and a combination of ensuring that this closes first and then you close a bleed screw up the top there. So the thing that once the oil is out of the engine, we will also change this guy, which I'll do after I get off the camera. So there's the new oil filter, which I'll put on once I put the camera down. I've probably condensed 3 hours worth of work into 1 minute and 54 seconds. So I will leave you with a beautiful sunset happening above me, and check in tomorrow when I change the impellers and the sail drive oil. Hi, so I forgot to do any filming yesterday in the second part of the engine service. So to quickly run people through what we did, is we first of all, we changed the impeller, and the impeller was one of the hardest things to do, because if you see the engine here, the impeller is all the way in there. That little round thing, I can't see it on camera, but you can imagine me trying to undo 5 little screws like that and change the impeller. Both of the impellers turned out to be okay. The other thing we did was, Elissa, if you can follow, we drained the coolant. So this is just like a normal car radiator. So that completed the engine service. Oh, there's one more thing which I need to finish, and this is the air intake muffler, which I have cleaned. How does this go? Like that, I guess. Yeah, like that. So that was just cleaned with neutral detergent, whatever neutral detergent is. We just use shopping detergent. And the last thing to do, which I only got the part this morning, is this bad boy. It's called the exhaust elbow. So the way it works is exhaust gas comes through here along with seawater that's been flushed to the engine through the top here. So if you can see through there, there's sort of 2 tubes that become one, and the idea is that you don't want this inner tube to rust, otherwise you could end up with seawater going through your exhaust system. So they say to change this out every 500 hours, so I'll do that when we next have an opportunity. So that just bolts on there. And then our engines are good to go for another 250 odd hours. Some things for another 500 hours. So pretty pleased with how the last 2 days have gone. High five to Elissa, the great cameraman right there. So Elissa and I have been searching Lefkas for a paddleboard for 3 days. We've talked to everyone. It's been exhausting, but she's finally got one.
Yay!
The great unpacking.
Stand-up paddleboard.
Just open it. No one wants to know the details. Quick update on SUP saga. Elissa is being very feminine. She's got the instruction booklet out. This could take an hour. Success. There's Jack. Jack's getting bigger. Stand up, Elissa.
Baguette. Baguette. Foux, Fafa.